this is a topic you can talk about because um, you're an expert in the state of Arizona and the tracks that are located within. Well, you've been to them. You've been to these tracks.
Okay, I'm an
Poopgate.
expert. Okay,
Expl-
okay, yeah,
you're an ex. You've been to these places. You've been to Flagstaff. You've been to Sedona. Explain to people what's going on with Poopgate.
okay. So Sam Parsons, friend of the pod. He's never been on the pod, but I'm just gonna say friend of the pod. It's fun to say that phrase, friend of the pod. Um, he tweeted out about a day ago, like yeah, I guess a day ago. Wait, this story of why pro runners and flag are banned from using Sedona High School track for training right now cannot be real. Crying emoji. Okay, so before we get into this, what is the Sedona High School track? The Sedona High School track is a track that's like a 40-minute drive from Flagstaff. And it's a way for track athletes who train in Flagstaff to drop down in altitude to do speed sessions. So it's at 4,000 feet elevation. But if you're at Flag, where you're at 7,000 feet, it's a way to quickly go 3,000 feet down in a short period of time, which is a 40-minute drive, of which is a beautiful drive, by the way. The drive from Flag to Sedona, very beautiful. Sedona is a beautiful place, lots of hiking trails. If you're ever in Southwest Arizona, you should go to Sedona and Flag. So, and because this track is so close to Flag and at a good elevation and a easy drive, pro runners over the past multiple years have slowly trickled into coming and training on this track. Now, this track is really predominantly used by two coaches and or agents. You have the NAZ Elite team, which is Ben Rosario, and Stephen Haas, who's an agent, but also a friend of the running community who kind of brings in the miscellaneous athletes, ones who are, his actual athletes, and then also like friends of athletes because, athletes like training with other athletes who aren't their training partners because, you're not going to say, hey, Mo Farah, work out separately from me. If you can hop into a Mo Farah workout, you're going to hop into a Mo Farah workout, right? They benefit from working with each other. King Ches, obviously, Edward Chesrick trains there. We did a bunch of like workout Wednesdays in Sedona with Edward Chesrick. So yeah, the who's who of running come to Sedona. So that's what this track is. It's been used a lot, mainly by NAZ Elite and by Stephen Haas's Total Sports people and friends. However, it looks like the fun is up. The gig is up for these pro runners because apparently someone, we don't know who it is yet. We're going to figure it out on the pod. That's the goal of this pod, to find out who the pooper is. Certain McCurdy Train tweeted out the following. They're not sure if it's. They said this is 100% real. A certain professional team came to town and showed no respect. Their quotes, not mine. The athletes that live here are furious. This is a local community, and they essentially ruined the relationship with the high school. Basically saying, speaking to a school official and getting the full word directly. I hope they ban everyone from using the track until they see fit. Professional athletes do not take priority over kids. Professional athletes do not have a right to use the track during school. Professional athletes do not have the right to defecate on school property. Professional athletes do not have a right to go into the school during school hours. This wasn't one team. This is multiple incidents. So basically, they're saying one of the athletes, or more than one of the athletes, pooped on the track, and one or more went inside the school during school hours. I'm guessing they went in school during school hours to try to avoid pooping on the track because they were looking for a bathroom. And then when they couldn't find the bathroom in the school, they went out and just pooped on the track. Now, pooping on the track, it's not like they pooped in the center of like the shot put pit. They pooped probably around a bush that's near the track, right? That's probably what happened. And when you're training and you got to poop, you got to poop. So looking at the setup of this track, I can see how this happened because there is no public
Yeah.
bathroom near the track. There is a bathroom that is near the track, but sometimes it's locked. Often it's locked, actually. So a lot of times these athletes are like, what am I going to do, right? Now, if it's a pee,
Yeah.
if you have to pee publicly, a lot of people don't even notice that because pee disappears when you put it into a bush. Just pee around the corner. People pee on trees all the time. and no one says anything. But when it's up number two, then we have a
A little different.
situation. A little different.
A little different.
So uh, people have been kind of tweeting back and forth more about this story and more about the poop culture at this track. Someone tweeted out that there was a time when there was construction going on and there were actual porta potties near the track, so people were able to poop
Yeah.
in said porta potty. Um, and basically, this always has been an issue. How do you handle an influx of multiple athletes, pro athletes, who just all need a poop?
Yeah.
Like, how do you deal with this? There's a lot of what's the sewage situation for these pro athletes? Um, and it looks like they came to a breaking point where too many were pooping where they weren't supposed to be pooping. And now we're here. I just like saying the word poop on the
Well,
podcast. I'm trying to use that word as much as possible.
well, it's important too to look at the training options available to pro athletes. So once you turn professional, maybe you're still with your college coach and you're a volunteer assistant and you're able to use your college facility. Maybe you live in a community where there's a track that's good and it's available to the public. But if you don't fit into one of those two categories, you're at the whims of high schools or other public entities that you're a guest when you come to their track. I mean, I'm looking at some of these shots and it's kind of remarkable. These shots of that you took when you went down to Sedona, where it's so many of the best runners in the world working out on a high school track in Arizona. Like, it's pretty wild, but it's a great facility, as you mentioned, and there's just not many facilities that are available to professional athletes. Now, when you're doing it at high school, though, there's obviously huge complications because the high school needs the facility after school. The high school cannot open up their school and have a bunch of people who do not attend the school, do not work at the school, going through the halls and using the bathrooms. I'm trying to think of a similar situation in another sport, and it's like kind of hard to find a comp. Now during the summer, when it's not being used as frequently, would that make it easier? Yeah, absolutely. But even bringing in things like porta potties, well, it's tough because what do you do? Bring in a porta potty and then roll it out when you guys are done? Like every day, someone's job is to bring in a porta potty because you're not just going to leave it out there for after school for when the high schoolers use the facilities. And the whole point of this structure is to serve the high schoolers, right? As I mentioned, the runners are a guest in the scenario. So yeah, just the lack of tracks puts them in this position. And I'm guessing there's a lack of awareness, lack of respect with the groups that are being referred to of just knowing where it is that you're training. And this is not like the Olympic training facility. This is not even a college. This is a high school. And that original tweet that we posted where it just said there were multiple incidences, I'm guessing it just becomes too much of a hassle. And they're just like, well, why are we doing this anyway if the groups using it aren't going to respect it? And then you get the situation where it's like they don't even want to spend the time of saying like, okay, well, this group was good. This group was followed the rules. This group didn't. They're just going to say, forget all of it and toss it out.
Yeah. And as a result, there are a lot of athletes who depend on this track who are being the baby
Yeah.
that's being tossed out with the